In the second of these videos, I would like to talk not so much about the concept of the online Christian, but rather the practicalities of it. And in this episode, we'll be looking at how we should be consuming as a Christian. Obviously, as a Christian, we need to be very careful about what we allow into our minds because that will alter the way that we think. When it comes to media produced by the world, that is obviously the case. But it's also when we're trying to search for Christian media online as well. The internet is a vast place and there are huge resources there of varying qualities. And so this video will actually be a relatively short one, just going through the principles that you should be thinking about before consuming any particular piece of online media. This would be the same as if you were buying a book. This would be the same as if you were going to listen to a speaker at a church other than your own. They're relatively simple, they're relatively common sense. The first thing that we should be looking at is trying to find trusted sources. And this is quite simple if it is a case of your own church producing online content in this situation. The leaders of your church have a responsibility to vet those people who are going to be speaking to you before they come and speak, to test their teaching before you are exposed to it. If a video is produced by your church or on behalf of your church, there's a reasonably high chance that it is trustworthy and it is going to be similar to the other teaching you would have had in person. This, unfortunately, is not always the case, and so we do need to be careful not to simply accept what somebody says because they're well known or because they have spoken to us before on other subjects. Anything any Christian says should be tested by us. It should just be a simple and natural part of our Christian experience. If you find yourself unable to get trusted sources, there are some things that you can do to ensure that you're getting good teaching. The first and probably the primary thing is to do some research on the person that's speaking. Look into their background if you can. Are they truly a Christian? Are they part of a church? And if so, which church? Where does that church stand on matters that you're interested in? It's always best to test a new source against things that you already know. Whether that be the deity of Christ, whether that be the true means of salvation, the fundamentals of Christian teaching. If they're teaching those things correctly, then it means there's a higher chance they'll be teaching other things correctly. So test what they're saying against things you already know about. Finally, you can check what they're saying is in context when they're referring to scripture. So we know that all scripture is written for us, for our benefit. But that doesn't mean it's all written specifically to us. So we must check that the references that they're using, the Bible verses they are appealing to show their point, are such that they're being taken in context. Okay, so when they quote a section of scripture, check that they've quoted it accurately. Check that they've quoted it in context. If you're still unsure, if there's still doubt in your mind, speak to somebody that you trust, a more mature Christian, a more experienced Christian, and speak to them. Show them the video and say, or the article, and say, what do you think on this? Can you see anything that is wrong? You can hear teaching which on the surface of it sounds right. On the surface of it appeals to you. However, when you dig a bit deeper, it takes the scripture and twists it, even just a little, and that can have great implications in the way that we live and the way that we understand our salvation and understand our God. So we need to be very careful when we are looking online to see what there is, to test it, to make sure that it is true and trustworthy. And of course, the place that we do that is the Bible. We must know our Bible and interpret Scripture with Scripture.